Good evening, Miss Cher. What's up, everybody? It's Rachel. I'm back. Sorry about the delay of the this new episode. This is another discussion blog, and today we will be talking about trendy parents of the 21st century and how annoying I find them to be. Now, the thing that I find most annoying recently about them is in recent years, they've been not vaccinating their children. And now certain diseases have made a resurgence amongst these children. I mean, of course, it's been dying back down. Of course, they've only been spluttering out here and there. But it's been enough to where it's caused, well, at least a concern for me and the safety of all of the children, especially ones that aren't old enough to get vaccines. Now, there was this rumor going around of these studies. Actually, no, one particular study, I forgot which name it was, but after a few studies, they found that there have been no conclusive evidence to this, but they were very, very, very concerned that vaccinating your child caused autism. Now, I've noticed listening to these commercials, especially on the radio, they're like, at first it was like one in every 200,000, and then one into every 100, this, that, and the other, and now it's 1 in 64 children have autism or diagnosed with autism. Now that's a really staggering statistic. Now, if that were actually true, and it's not just it being overdiagnosed as it used to be way back in the day before they actually had any conclusive, background as to what the signs and symptoms were, and, at what age can you catch these things, if it at all was present. That's very startling, especially since, this has been years since, I was in, 7th grade, when I was, really finally, listening to, radio commercials and things like that. And now it's 1 in 64 are diagnosed or, have autism. And it's that's such a big coincidence that it's gone up recently when the age of these parents have gone up just as recently. I think they had Tommy Hilfiger on their last TV commercial. Do you know how old Tommy Hilfiger is? The guy's got gray hairs, and I don't know, and he wasn't gray hairing prematurely. The man's got wrinkles for days. Tommy Hilfiger is old, okay? His daughter is 6 years old. He's in his 50s, okay? He is the prime example of what having children at an older age does, okay? I know that everybody wants to have a career and everybody wants to, be successful. And yes, that takes time. You don't become successful and, just jump into the world. That's why it's such a big deal to have people that are shareholders, or people that are especially in law firms and things like that. People have they're name shareholders or whatever, and they get to put their name on the company. And to be 30 years old when you're doing it, it's oh my god, it didn't take you till you were 60 to get there. When you're supposed to be retiring, it didn't take you that long to get, that high up into the company. Yes, it takes a while. It takes a lot of hard work. But a lot of people these days are focusing only on that. They're I want a family one day, but I'm going to wait till I have a buttload of money. Yes, I say buttload instead of boatload, or, the other word. A buttload of money. And, then I can finally, finally stop and, slow down and kind of, plateau a little bit so I can, start a family. And then, 40, going on 50 years old, and they're oh my gosh, why does my child have this and why does my child have that? Because you're old, okay? At the age of 40, and I think it might have been bumped up to 30, it is required to check for Down syndrome, okay? Because guess what? You have had your eggs since, especially women, you have had your eggs since before you were born. Them eggs are 40 years old. You are trying to procreate and make children over the age of 40. And men, just the same. All that stuff is old. Dusty. It is not the vaccines. It is your old butt. Okay? And they've never found this conclusive evidence that vaccines actually do cause autism. Because you know what? If it were vaccines, then guess what? Back when those vaccines first started, we would have had all of that. Okay? And it wouldn't be steadily increasing and steadily increasing. But guess what? The age in which people are having children, steadily increasing. Steadily increasing. Yes, we are smarter than we were back then. But guess what? Our kids weren't autistic. They weren't. They weren't like me. I have Asperger's syndrome, and no, not the overdosed kind. I actually have the regular kind. It makes it hard to talk to people. Very hard to talk to people. And very hard to catch sarcasm, too. I use it all the time. But it's hard to catch it when other people do it, because sometimes it sounds like they're actually serious, and then I think you're crazy. And then they're like, no, I was being sarcastic. And I'm like, oh, guess you aren't crazy. So, and it's very hard to catch. Very, very hard to catch. So I struggled socially with that way, and I actually see a speech pathologist for all that stuff. So, yes, and like it's not the vaccines. Trust me, I deeply advocate vaccines because guess what? We're not bringing these old ancient diseases back because you people are stupid idiots and you're reading and just believing the first thing you see about whatever. So just being scared, like, oh my God, my child might have autism and I'm so afraid. And then like that, like with baby leashes, really, get your little girl, get her some little baby heels so that she can go running around and then trip and fall and bust her face. No, I'm kidding. No, I don't advocate that. No, but seriously, get her some little baby heels and have her go. That is how you stop a kid. Okay, you don't put a baby leash on them like they're a dog. And seriously, like no, don't do that. Just get them little baby heels so they can't run and that they're too cautious and they just start going like taking little baby steps. That will slow them down. For the boys, same thing. Same thing. Or just tell them to stop running around. Just, come on, discipline. No, don't discipline them like that. But, instill in them that if they do something wrong, that your disappointment is what will be a consequence, or your mistrust will come as a consequence. Now, don't be like, the first thing that happens, be like, oh, I totally distrust you. Oh, you're a big disappointment to me. No, don't do it like that. Don't mentally scar them as a result. But, kids care about the fact that their parents are, proud of them more than any kind of like smacking them or whatever that mess is. Don't abuse your kids, okay? Just let them know that your disappointment, that's the biggest thing to them. They will change for what you think of them before they would change of you smacking them around or putting them in timeout or whatever. That means nothing to them. It's just an annoyance. If they don't understand or they don't, get the fact that the consequences that you don't trust them as much or you don't, you're not as proud of them as you once were, then, they'll actually change for stuff like that. And then what else? Helicopter parents. Seriously, you smother your kids. Once they get loose, they will get loose. And they will go buck wild. And then you will be upset. Because they will learn. They will learn at some point. They can learn the really, really hard way after you done sheltered them all of their lives. They will go free and they will get buck wild and they could potentially ruin their lives, first of all. And then second of all, like they could just learn these things bit by bit. Of course, always be there to catch them if they fall, but just let them learn their own mistakes. Let them learn their own mistakes in their own time. Don't be like, you can't go here, you can't go there, you can't do this, you can't walk around outside in the dark. They already got curfews for stuff like that. Okay, and like just don't smother them. Because once you smother them, once you gotta let them go to college, they're gonna go buck wild, and then all of that stuff that they could have learned, in bits and pieces at a time as they were growing up in manageable little micro ways where you could just completely alleviate them right then and there, and then they learn as they go along. No, forget that. What they do is they're just like, you don't go nowhere, keep them in ignorance, shelter them. And once they get out there and they're just like, I have no idea of this, and then someone lures them to go do this. They lure them to go do that, and then they do irreparable damage to their lives. And they're just like, I was a good parent, and I'm being a good parent by, sheltering you from all these different things. And no, that's not how you parent people, okay? So that's just my little spiel on these new trendy parents of the 21st century. Oh, and stop all of these new diets, like the charcoal cleanse thing with the lemon and the charcoal. It's charcoal. It's not gonna clean you out. But it's like putting soot inside your body. It's just making you dirtier. You're gonna look like those chimney cleaners from Mary Poppins on the face, but on the inside it's gross, it's nasty. Don't do it. Don't do it. If you want to clean yourself out, eat a high fiber diet and just stay away from beans and carry a lot of spray or some, odor neutralizer because you're gonna be gassy. But that's my little spiel. Bonsoir, mes chers. Love you guys. And I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.